welcome to my Christmas kitchen. Now, I always feel that it's really Christmassy when I've broken up from school and I've got all my kitchen sorted out for Christmas and I have a big Christmas bake day, and that's what I'm doing today. And I thought I would share with you my gingerbread biscuit recipe. Really yummy. And this recipe you can actually use to make gingerbread houses, gingerbread cookies that you hang on the tree, or just, well, it hasn't actually got to be gingerbread men. You can actually use snowmen cutters, which I'm going to be using today. So we'll be doing some gingerbread snowmen. Yum. But lots and lots of templates on the internet if you want to download the patterns to make a gingerbread house with this recipe. And all you need is sort of 4 rectangles and then a square with a triangle sort of on the top of it, whatever shape that's called. Anyway, lots and lots of templates on the internet, so have a look for that. But we're just going to be doing the cookies today. So without further ado, I am going to turn the camera around and then you can actually have a look at what we are doing. First of all, before I turn the camera around, I'm going to hold this up because the smell, oh, I wish you could smell this. I'm going to waft the smells over to you, but this smells like delicious caramel. Look at that golden loveliness. Yum. Anyway, I'm going to show you what we're going to do with this, so let's tip the camera upside down. So it's looking as if I've got lots and lots of things here, but I haven't really. In here, I've got my melted butter, my golden syrup and my brown sugar. Now that is all melted and it's been cooling for about 10 minutes. And honestly, it is like caramel. It's like toffee. It absolutely smells gorgeous. So I'm just going to pop that aside for a minute because in this bowl here, I'm going to tip in my flour and my baking powder. Now they've all gone in together. Into that, I'm going to put my spices. Again, I wish you could smell this. Oh, we've got cloves, we've got ginger, and we've got cinnamon, and that is a real Christmassy smell. So let's pop that in there. Give it a little stir with my Santa spatula. So we're going to mix all that in. Now, I like a lot of spices in here, so I've given you the recipe, and it's 2 teaspoons of ginger, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and really just a pinch of cloves, because cloves is really strong. But I actually like mine a little bit more spicier, so I do tend to put a bit more in, but it's up to you. If you want them less spicy, just put a teaspoon of each in them. But try them out first and see. So we have got all of our dry ingredients there. Pop that to the side and let's get back to this beautiful golden liquid. Yum. Now, I am whisking this now. As I'm whisking, I'm putting in an egg. And I'm whisking all the time because although we've let this cool, it is still warm. And what we don't want is to cook the egg in there, make scrambled egg. But look at that. Oh, yum. It's gone a lovely darker colour now. Now I'm going to get rid of this whisk. Pop that in there. And all we're going to do now is tip this into the middle of our dry ingredients. We're going to give it a stir and form it into a dough. And that is it. So let's stir this up. Do you know, I had a bit on my thumb then and I was so tempted to lick it, but I won't. But I might lick the bowl afterwards. Right, let's give this a good old mix. And you can smell, I know you can't out there, but when you make it, you'll be able to smell all the lovely butter, the golden syrup and all those spices all combining. And look at this. Oh, yum. And can you see it's coming to form a dough? Now, at this point, if you wanted to, you could split this dough in half and you could freeze it. And then bring it out to defrost and then just make your biscuits from there. So that's a really good idea if you just want to make a few biscuits today. But can you see it's thickening up as I'm stirring it, and it's because the flour is cooling down all that butter and the sugar and the syrup, and it's forming it into a lovely dough. So I'm going to leave that there now. So what we want to do with this mixture now is pop it in cling film and pop it in the fridge for about 2 hours so that it goes really, really firm, and then we'll be ready to roll out. So my dough has come out of the fridge and I've got half of it here. I'm just going to work with half at a time because I don't want to soften all the butter and everything up in it by keep having to roll it up. So I've dusted my surface. I'm just going to dust my rolling pin, and then we're gently going to roll it out. And already you can smell all of those spices and the butter and the syrup. It is just delicious. Now we don't want these too thick. I would say, and I know in not all my other videos I've said about the depth of a pound coin, but I think we need it a little bit thinner than that as well. There we go. And I think we are ready. As I said, this is the mixture, the dough that you can use for, let me come down here. This is the dough that you can use for your gingerbread houses and the cookies that you hang on the tree, things like that. As I said, download a template and it's ready to use, ready to cut out. I'm going to make, however, some snowmen, some gingerbread snowmen. So we're going to just chop these out, but to make sure we get a lovely clean cut, we're just going to dip that in the flour, and then it will just stop it sticking to the sides. And look at this, that lovely snowman. Can you see that? Now I've got snowman cookies. If you haven't, again, you could just download a template and run a knife around it, cut it out in paper, run a knife around it, or just use whatever shapes you've got. So I'm just going to carry on cutting out a few more snowmen, but then I've got my Christmas trees. I'll cut out some Christmas trees. Now, this snowman cookie cutter would actually be too big to hang on the tree, really. You want the smaller ones, the ones that I used for salt dough, if ever you saw that video. This here is about the right size if you want to put my hand there, if you want to put them on the tree. So, and remember, you just put a little straw through the top to make a hole so that when it's cooked we can then just put some ribbon on it. So I'm just going to pop those on my baking sheet, and then these are going to go in the oven for about 15 minutes on 180 degrees. Let's do another Christmas tree. Then we'll roll this dough up and we get to use it again. But as it gets softer, pop it back in the fridge just to harden up a bit. That's why I've just done it in 2 batches. And remember, I said that you could freeze it at the stage. When I put this in the fridge, you could cut that in half and you can freeze that and then use it another time. So I'm going to go and pop those in the oven now, and we'll see you in about 15 minutes. So my lovely gingerbread biscuits are out of the oven, and look at those. Now these were in for about 12 to 15 minutes. Do check on them, but when they come out of the oven they are going to be a little bit soft, but they actually harden up as they cool. Because listen to this. So they are quite crispy, which is brilliant, which is just what we need. Now, I'm going to show you 2 different types of icing now. We're going to make an ordinary icing with a little bit of water, icing sugar and water, and that we can just drizzle on and spread on. But I'm also going to show you how to make some royal icing if you wanted to pipe on. Now, I've got piping bags and piping nozzles. If you haven't got that, just drizzle it on, or just use a plastic food bag and just snip off the end if you want to have a go at piping. So first of all, let's do our drizzle icing. So I'm going to tip the camera down so you can see. There we go. Hopefully you'll be able to see okay. I'm not actually going to give you measurements or precise measurements for making the icing, because sometimes you only want to make it at a small batch. So as long as you know what consistency you need, that's the main thing. So I'm popping up a minute. So I'm going to just pop some icing sugar into my bowl. And this is just ordinary, the pantry icing sugar from Aldi. And all you want now is just a small amount of water. Now, if you saw my sugar cookies recipe, you saw me making this icing, and you saw that we just add a little bit of water each time, because it can go quite runny with just a tad too much water in it. Okay, but we don't want it too runny, so give this a mix through. And both of these icings that I'm making, you can actually colour up with some colouring as well. If you're going to use the liquid colouring, don't put too much water in, because of obviously the extra liquid going in from the colour. But I'm going to be using a gel, and there's all sorts of gels on the market. This just happens to be the one I've got. So it's not that watery at all, and you only need a tiny bit. Now, this is about the right consistency. Can you see that? It's not too runny. Can you see that? But it will drizzle nicely over the biscuits. Now, the snowman, if you want to, you can do a piping icing, which I'm going to show you in a minute, or we can just spread it on and then just put loads of sprinkles on it. So I'm just going to spread some icing on here. Just swirl it around. There we go. Get to the edges and come up to his face. So we've done his tummy. We're going to come up to his face. If you've got any sort of sweets like Smarties or M&Ms, you can put some buttons on him, or we could just give him a lovely sprinkle all over. Okay, so there we've got the icing on him. And we're going to give him a little sprinkle. I'm just checking that you can see down there. Yep. So I'm just going to sprinkle this all over him. There we go. So we've got a sprinkled snowman. Now, I'm going to turn this green now, because we've got some Christmas trees here. So I'm just going to put a tiny bit, and it really is just a tiny bit of this green. Can you see? I don't know if you can see. It is just a little speckle of green with these gels, and it is turning into a nice green colour. If you want to go darker, you can, and I actually think I will go a bit darker. There we go. And then we can pipe or drizzle this on. There, can you see? No, there. Can you see that? It's a nice green. And I find that if I get a fork, I've got one of these little forks. I don't know why, they just drizzle better. Let me just get the bowl in here. And we're just going to drizzle back and forth, almost like tinsel. Give it a little, and it's just falling off the fork. So let it drip and then start going backwards and forwards right the way to the end. And again, we're going to give it a little sprinkle. Put that. My sprinkles seem to go everywhere. And can you see? We've got our, see if I can get the light right there, little Christmas tree with its like green icing tinsel. Now the other thing that we can do is make royal icing. Now with royal icing we need some icing sugar and some egg white. Now, I've been busy making my pastry for my mince pies this morning, and I always put egg yolk in my pastry for mince pies. So I've got lots of egg whites left. So again, you only want a little bit of liquid, just like the water. So I've got some icing sugar in there, and I'm just going to take a couple of teaspoons to start off with of my egg white. Now, as I said, you can have precise measurements, but I only want a little bit of icing today, so I'm just doing it like this. But as I said, you can tell by your consistency. So I just need another couple of teaspoons here. Okay. Give it a good mix. I don't know if you can see. You see that egg white there is clumping down there, but we've still got lots of this icing sugar to mix in. If you use a whole egg white, obviously you need a lot of sugar, icing sugar. So you do have precise measurements for that. But as I said, I just need a little bit here. Now this is too runny for me, so I need to put in some more icing sugar. And it really is as simple as that. You could make a batch of this royal icing if you want to pipe your biscuits. Make a batch, separate it into little bowls and put different colours in. There we go. Ah, oh, beautiful. Look at that. There we go. Now I'm going to pipe my snowflakes. So I've got a disposable piping bag here. I love these because it saves the washing up. I can just chuck them away. I do tend to make my own from parchment paper because it is more friendly for the environment. But I have got these today that I'm using because I just want to use them up and then not buy any more and just make my own all the time. So I'm going to press that all the way down, give it a twist. Now what I want to do is just snip a little bit off the bottom, not too wide, because you'll see what I'm going to do in a minute. And can you see? Oops, it's starting to come out there. So I've got my snowflake and I'm going to just pipe all the way down there. Oops, all the way across. It's because I'm holding it up, it's dripping a little bit. And then I'm just going to do some little bits going either side. I'm hoping you can see this. Shall I come a bit closer? There. So I'm just going to pipe some bits here to make it look like a snowflake. Now, it's a bit difficult doing this holding up, but I'm hoping you can get to see the effect. Can you see? I'm just going to hold this one down here to do this one. A little twirl in the middle, and look, you've got a snowflake biscuit. I'll quickly do another one for you. Now I can do it a bit closer. There we go. So we're going to go all the way down, all the way across, all the way down again. I'll just do that bit again. It's because I'm holding it up. As I said, it's dripping a bit, but you can get the idea. So let's do some little bits coming off each arm, or each point of the star, should I say. There we go. And you can take your time, you can do all sorts of things, and this is great for the children to have a go at as well. And this icing does actually harden, so it's really, really nice. There we go. Now if you wanted to do the snowman, you could have black icing and white icing. And your black icing, you can actually get some coloured icing pens in Tesco's, and you would just, I'm going to have to do this down, I'm afraid. You can do two different icings called a flooding icing and your outline icing, but we won't worry about that. We just want to get on and decorate these biscuits, and we want to eat them, don't we? So you could have that black and then go all the way around the outside, all the way like that. Fill that in with white icing. You could then do some buttons. You could do an orange nose if you wanted to, two eyes. and a smiley face. You could even put some colour on for a little scarf as well. So there's your basic snowman. So I hope you've enjoyed that recipe today. That's my last recipe before Christmas, I'm afraid, but I have got some stories coming up as well. But there are a few things for you to be getting on with if you wanted to, if you just want to fill your time or just have a go at some of these. Do have lots and lots of fun, and I will see you at school in January. Can't wait. I'll see you all then, but until then, from all of my Christmas friends, see you soon. Happy Christmas and stay safe.